pre-show included conversation of poodles with radar dishes attached to them. Just top-notch conversations here.
In case there wasn't like a manic quality to this pandemic yet, I'm starting to see things in my neighborhood that I'm suspicious of.
Does a poodle have a dish on it? Maybe they're emitting 5G into my house and stealing my.
Is there animal monitoring us?
Speaking of monitoring, I didn't even think about this until you said that, which was good. I got to find the link which might be hard now. But there was a story that was tweeted out yesterday about this guy was, I think, the second engineer on the iPod team.
Yep.
So we're talking,
I know,
like 20 years ago at this point, about how he was sitting in his office and his boss came in and said, "Hey, I have a project for you to work on. And this is like his boss's 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 boss. It's like, so I have a project for you to work on, and you can't tell anybody, and not even your boss." And this guy went to his boss and said, "Don't talk to him. He's doing a secret project." Long story short, he was apparently working with the Department of Energy to put some sort of device inside of an iPod so that
was it like a Geiger counter or something?
Well, that's what it's believed. Like the story concludes with he doesn't actually know what he was helping with, but he met with two individuals at Apple's laboratory, and he had to open up effectively the iPod OS to make it a way that they could click a button in the OS, and then whatever this magical, mysterious device was inside the iPod could then start writing data to the hard drive. But then if you plug the iPod in, it wouldn't look like anything other than an iPod. It was a pretty neat little story.
I'm sure somewhere in this chain was like, if this thing had an app store, we could have just done this legitimately.
could have just, It's that 30%. That's why they didn't do it.
Yeah, 30%. It was the 30% fee. They were like, no, we're sidelining this thing.
Yeah. So neat little story. And I pretty much told the whole thing. So if you like that story, you probably don't need to read the post. And if you didn't like the story, well, you just wasted.
It's worth looking up. I mean, I didn't write it up because I'm trying to stay focused on things that are pertinent, to the
it's just a neat little fact
direction of the site. But right. I read it. I mean, I thought it was interesting.
So other things that are interesting and happening, I might still have this wired up. There you go. There's the new dashboard.
Yeah, you can tell it's new because. Brad, how can we tell this is new? Because honestly, this looks almost exactly like what I'm looking at every day on my Xbox One.
So there's two things. If you squint your eyes very closely, you can see some rounded corners.
Yep. That makes it modern. Okay. By the way, modern, I'm sorry, I should say rounded corners in a personal computing UI date back to the original Macintosh in 1983. That was a Steve Jobs thing.
Yep.
He was really into them. That's why if you look at a iOS screen today, the icons have rounded corners.
Yeah. So if you'll notice the difference here, rather than being a full height panel, Paul, that pops out, it now appears
hold on, stop. Did you just say height?
Height panel?
Do you say height? Is that how you normally say it?
Height? I don't know. Cool whip.
Yes.
Whip. Cool height panel. I don't know. It doesn't span the whole freaking height, like top to bottom.
It floats, yeah.
It floats.
Yeah, like Pennywise in It.
Is that where the poodle thing came from this morning?
Yeah, exactly. I like how this, I like the look of it, by the way.
So, and then this is the updated sort of Xbox looking app thing that's going to be on your phone.
Yeah, and this is the little side story that I think a lot of places didn't quite get. Like, people thought they were just introducing the Xbox Series X UI or whatever.
Nope, it's the whole.
This is going to go to Xbox One. Yeah, it's across Xbox, and I like the consistency. It's something Microsoft isn't exactly known for, but I also like the look of it. It's just a kind of a slightly modern tweak on the existing UI. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft has remade the UI on the Xbox One. Feels like every year, candidly. Like every year they say it's faster and better. But that's supposedly the other big thing is that they've reduced the, I think, RAM or storage or memory usage by 40%, and it's supposed to be 50% faster, which is a little concerning because the Xbox Series X is like massively faster than the One X. But
so the problem they've had, and this dates back seriously like 15 years, is Xbox 360 and Xbox One. The UI has always been really slow. They've been working they've been working for 15 years trying to fix it, and they ran out of ways to make it perform faster. So they started looking at ways just to make it more efficient. So fewer clicks to get to places that you need to go, et cetera. So I hope, I always hope, but I mean, the new hardware plus the new UI, maybe we'll finally see some. Because think about it, this thing plays like 4K 60 frames a second games. Like you can't snap to the next screen in a UI. Like, that should be the fastest thing in the world, It just hasn't been. It's weird.
But anyway, so that's, and I don't know if that's rolling out. That's not coming out probably till the consoles or something like that.
I looked for that language. I didn't see that. So yeah, I assume it, with the console.
Somewhere around, I don't know, holiday, November 6th, something like that. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
If you're rounding around or rocking around the Christmas tree, whatever you're going to do this holiday, or rocking around the COVID pole or whatever.
Right. Which, by the way, is where the maypole comes from, right? Wasn't that a plague thing? If you look at the Ring Around the Rosie.
Ring Around the Rosie was, yeah.
Rosie was something to do with the plague symptoms or something.
Yeah. And other things that are interesting / odd. Apple's market cap of $2 trillion is fascinating. Mostly because it's oof.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is.
I don't know what to make of this. I mean, if you look, the New York Times had a chart that I put into my article that showed their stock price or their market cap value rise over time. If you look at 2011, they don't call it out, but Steve Jobs died in 2011. I mean, over the course of Apple's history, it is a nice little sharp uptick there to his death, but the explosion that's occurred since is really hard to explain because the company has exactly done a lot on the innovation side. I mean, I guess Apple Watch would be kind of the major product that has occurred in that time frame. And obviously they've started into services on a big level. But, the rapid fire innovation that occurred under Jobs, kind of like iMac, iPod, iPhone, iPad, this is probably most of it, was the foundation for the success you see today. Because those products, well, not the iMac, but the iMac's still around actually, I guess technically, but he kind of laid the foundation.
Right. He got the product started, and then now especially on the iPhone, has grabbed just a significant amount of market share.
Yeah, incredible. So anyway, Apple is obviously an economic engine. It's kind of hard to explain. It's crazy.
Yeah. The interesting thing here is we all know that the iPhone has an outsized size relationship to their overall earnings, right? It's a sizable portion. Now, granted, their services and stuff are growing. I'm not discounting that. The only rational justification I can make here is that going forward, nobody's going to be able to break into iOS and Android, and so they're just going to continue to sell tens of millions of these things every quarter until something supplants the smartphone effectively. But
yeah, and what's that going to be? We can't even. I don't know. It's
HoloLens, maybe
devices, glass, maybe. I don't. I don't know.
Got to be some sort of. Yeah, I don't know. Like if I knew, then I would start investing in that. But other companies who are investing things. Oracle wants TikTok too, which honestly I think would be great if they just bought them, so we don't have to hear about that on the Microsoft side.
Just never talk about it again. That's gonna be the greatest day of my life. Yeah. Well, that and when COVID. But I don't even like discussing TikTok. Like I don't like this topic. I don't care about the app. I want it to go away. Not maliciously. Like it can be there. I just don't want to have to deal with it. If Microsoft buys TikTok, that's like a death sentence for me. Like
actually now I kind of want them to buy. I'm going to call it Frank.
No,
Frank,
I'll never be able to stop talking. I'll always have to write about it now.
Yeah, here's the new TikTok feature. It's a new filter.
You ever notice this? Do you ever think about this at all? Like Microsoft releases their earnings every quarter. They have 3 major business units. They talk about many of the major businesses within those business units. So they'll break out Office 365. They'll talk consumer. They'll talk commercial. They'll Azure. They go all the stuff. They break out Xbox and Surface and Windows and blah blah blah. But for some reason, LinkedIn is treated like it's the biggest thing. Like LinkedIn gets as much press as their 3 major business units every quarter for some reason. So imagine now that TikTok gets the same preferential treatment, right? Like every quarter we'll have to TikTok average monthly users or TikTok. Who cares what it is?
TikTok, we're minty fresh while you're on your TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Up 17%. Thanks to blah blah blah. Like, God, please make it stop. I want this not to happen.
I just want to know what business unit is, because is this like a more personal computing thing, like where?
Well, right, or a cloud play. That's a good question. And by the way, that's one of the problems with their artificial delineation of businesses. I mean, Office 365 or Microsoft 365 rather, is part of whatever that business is, but chunks of it are over in more personal computing. That's where Windows 10 is. Mm-hmm. I mean, these things are like kind of arbitrarily divided, it seems. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? It'll end up somewhere.
Yeah.
Or nowhere. Who cares? The other thing kind of worth notable is Microsoft Teams. Jeff Teeper tweeted out that they're working on breakout rooms, which is really relevant to my life right now because my wife is doing new student orientation virtually for the college she's at, and she had to kind of create breakout rooms inside of Teams. That's what they're using, but with channels, and it was a messy process. I helped her out a little bit. And then Jeff just tweets out, "Hey, we've got breakout rooms." And my wife is just like sitting there just like, really? Like now? Like
now your wife can understand the hell that we go through every month because when's that feature actually appearing?
Right. No, that's the thing. It's gonna roll out for the next 24 to 36 months.
So it's on iOS first, and then it will be on, like, is it that kind of a thing? Kind of a vague, foggy outline.
I don't know. Vague body outline. That's the Poodles are intercepting our signals again. They're just.
My dog was growling earlier, and I thought maybe like FedEx had come to the house, even though it's like really early for FedEx. But it was a poodle. She doesn't like dogs. It's ironic. She's a dog.
Yep. All right. Well, there we go. We'll catch all of you back here tomorrow. Live show. Yeah, it's Friday, right?
Oh God, it is. You're right. I have a hard time understanding days of the week. Maybe next week we can work on whole numbers.